Chapter 7, The Hidden Temples. In this chapter, I propose to give you details concerning the use of the Sphinx and the temples thereunder for the initiation of a neophyte of the Egyptian priesthood. The story tells how the initiate undergoes various tests in the chambers which lie under the Sphinx and the pyramids. But there are no chambers under the Sphinx, many people will object. In reply to that objection, I can only draw my reader's attention to the drawings, which are referred to in chapter 10 of this book, and which are, moreover, actually reproduced in the pages of this book. The story will be found interesting by all those who aspire to understanding the mystic meaning of the initiation. On the 30th of July, 1927, the voice began. My children, I shall give you as clearly as possible what took place at the initiation of the Sphinx, and I shall endeavor to explain as accurately as possible the meanings of the various passages and chambers which were encountered. The neophyte, when he approached the sacred environs of the Sphinx, first became aware of the huge and awe-inspiring monument. He approached it up a long causeway which was open to the vault of heaven, and which proceeded up from the direction of the Nile's bank. He was escorted along this causeway by one of the priests of the upper temple, and was given into the charge of another priest when he reached the opposite end of the causeway. Here he was halted, and various questions were put to him. He was told that if he wished to receive the true light of the cosmic spirit, he must renounce the world and, above all, trample the desires of self in the dust. The dangers of a faint heart and failing courage were also shown quite clearly to him. When the neophyte had answered these questions satisfactorily, he was taken into the temple, which still stands upon the south side of the Sphinx, and a little distance in front of it. At your present time, it is termed by Egyptologists the Temple of the Sphinx. It was without any inscription and was originally devoid of any ornamentation or statuary. The neophyte was conducted inside this temple and underwent a process of purification by water, which was taken from a well which is situated near the eastern face of the building. His head and hands were anointed, as was also his heart, which must be clean before the neophyte could be introduced into the presence of Ptah. When these things had been successfully accomplished, the neophyte was allowed to depart from the temple of purification, and was handed over to the priest of the Sphinx, who explained to him the external symbolical meaning of the recumbent figure. The body, he was told, signified two things. Firstly, the animal life of the world, and secondly, being the body of a lion. It represented strength, for the lion was always used to symbolize strength. Then his attention was drawn to the human head, having the beard, nemes, and double crown of Osiris. The head, said the priest, represents the dominion of man over the animal life of the world, and secondly, the will that should be exercised by man over the animal lusts of his own flesh. This was the reason, he was told, why the human head was placed upon the animal's body. The beard represented the wisdom required to wield the free will, which was man's birthright from God. The nemes below the double crown represented the full initiation into the mysteries, which was a spiritual prize desired by all who sought initiation. He was further told that before he could come into the presence of the Father King Ptah, he must pass the test necessary to bring him into the presence of Osiris, whose shrine was concealed in the house of stone, and which he, through his labors, must find. This was symbolized by the double crown of Osiris, which was made up of the lily crown of Ptah and the mitre crown of Osiris, which shot out of the center of the lily crown and symbolized Osiris as the son of Ptah, and also his divine representative for earth. When all these symbols had been explained to him, the neophyte was conducted into the little chapel, which existed in the breast of the Sphinx. Here he was placed in a sarcophagus to signify that he had buried the desires of the earthly body and was ready to seek the spirituality of truth, symbolized by 2 feathers, which were handed to the successful neophyte by the priest of the Sphinx.